Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market News and Views. Today is Tuesday, October 18th, 2011. There's a lot to cover, so let's get right into these charts here. I'm going to start off with the S&P 500 E-mini futures, just trading down 2.5 points. They were a little bit lower about 30 minutes ago, but they have caught a little bit of a bid off the lows of the day. If the futures are catching a bid, that means one thing: the U.S. dollar index is beginning to pull back. Here you see a chart of the U.S. dollar index. You could see the last two bars here over the past 20 minutes. The dollar has pulled in significantly, and there's your little bump in the S&P 500 E-mini futures. When the dollar goes down, the markets will inflate and trade higher. Yesterday, the dollar soared, really caught a huge rally all day long, started up and just kept grinding higher, and you saw how the market traded down on the Dow Jones by 247 points. So today we're seeing the dollar come down a little bit, and the markets are starting to catch a little bit of a bid, just down $2.50 on the S&P 500 E-mini futures. But it's pretty remarkable how that dollar really dictates every move. So there's a lot of economic data out of Europe today. I know normally we wouldn't pay that much attention to the economic data coming out of Europe, but nonetheless you have to these days. It was all terrible. There was nothing really good out of Europe reported, from what I could tell. It looked like there were problems in the UK, which is not part of the Eurozone. Germany also had investor confidence fall to a very low level. So again, it's just continuing. Also, Moody's reiterated France's AAA rating, but the credit agency warned that France is on the verge and looks very weak of all the AAA countries, and on the verge of losing that credit rating. So, I mean, it's just one thing after another here. Also, really more important than anything else was Asia last night. Asia was just hit across the board. Okay, you had the Nikkei Index 225, which is Japan, down at 1.55 points, 1.5%. You had the Hang Seng down 4.2%. The Shanghai was down 2.3%. Australia was down 2.04%, and then you had the Indian Sensex, which is another huge economy, down 1.6% last night. It was just a bloodbath across the board. Nothing good out of those Asian markets. And again, we'll have to watch here, but stocks like Baidu could be under pressure, even though they're moving up a little bit today. They may be under some pressure. Stocks like Sina, which have been a market leader, could be under some pressure later. It's all going to depend on the U.S. market, how well the U.S. market holds up today. If the U.S. market falters, these Chinese ADRs could start to dip pretty quickly. Take a look at the FXI, and that's the iShares China 225 index. You can see here a little bit on the weaker side today. If you look at the daily chart, it's been it's had a great bounce, but very weak yesterday. So we could see that starting to dip today. So again, watch these Chinese ADRs. They could be in motion to the downside if the U.S. markets start to falter. If the U.S. markets hold up, they'll probably be okay. I don't expect anything great out of them, but they'll probably be okay. Now, there's a lot of news to talk about real quick, and then we'll get into PPI, which is coming out at 8:30 in the morning. Right now it's at 8:27. But Bank of America reported earnings this morning. The stock is trading higher. I'm really not sure how it's trading higher, but I just have to think that those earnings were already baked into the cake, but they weren't really anything good coming out of Bank of America as far as I could tell. But nonetheless, it's the reaction that counts. Stock is trading up. Yesterday it closed at $6.03. Today it's trading at $6.15. Goldman Sachs also reported earnings. They reported a pretty big loss. The company's pretty much the first loss, I think, since the 2008 debt crisis. Goldman reported a loss of 84 cents per share. Their prop trading business lost $2.5 billion. So nothing pretty on Goldman. But again, it's baked into the cake, and you can see the stock is trading higher a little bit. Yesterday, Goldman closed at $96.90. Today, it's trading at $97.82 at the moment. So again, Goldman is catching a little bit of a bid. I'm not sure it lasts all that long. So just remember, these bank stocks really have padded earnings. You can't really, you got to just take them with a grain of salt. If the market reads through them enough, they could perform like J.P. Morgan did and sell off after the earnings announcement. So again, pretty weak there, but they are trading higher. But the stocks overall are somewhat on the weak side. Now, if the markets hold up, those stocks are likely to trade higher. If the markets start to falter, remember the bank stocks will probably all go lower. Okay, yesterday you saw Wells Fargo was under a lot of pressure. Stock really got hit hard yesterday. Closed at $24.42. Today it's catching just a small, tiny bid, but you could look at yesterday's decline. I mean, there was nothing pretty there for Wells Fargo. So in any case, that's where we stand at the moment. A couple of other stocks to go over. Let's take a look at Crocs. This stock was clipped after the bell. You can see here was halted, opened up after really down sharply after the close, and right now trading around 1766. Just a big decline. I'm not seeing anything great for Crocs at the moment. I'd let this thing settle in. There's a fair amount of support at $16 and a little bit more. I'm going to say probably around $15.40. Maybe you get some scalp trades at those levels. Other than that, there's nothing pretty on this stock. Let's take a look at Human Genome, ticker symbol HGSI. This stock is catching a little bit of a bid this morning. Has pulled back though, but it is trading up a little bit. So that's one to keep an eye on. I don't see anything great on this one at the moment. It's on the low end of the chart. If this stock breaks through the recent low of, I guess, $10.50, watch out. It could go a lot lower. So be careful there. Let's take a look at IBM. Also had earnings after the bell yesterday. IBM still trading down pretty sharply. It's trading at the 178.25 level. Yesterday it closed at 186.59. So that stock is getting clipped. Again, that's a market leader. That stock just made a 52-week high 2 days ago, and it is trading down sharply. So we'll have to watch that one. Now the big stock that everybody's going to have their eyes on today is going to be Apple. Apple will be reporting earnings after the bell. Now, you're going to hear a lot of news saying that Apple sold a lot of these new iPhones, the 4S or whatever else it's called. But nonetheless, the stock notoriously will probably run up into earnings. That's been the history of it. So we'll see how it plays out from there. It is somewhat extended, but again, who knows what it's going to come out and how the market's going to react to earnings. It's always a gamble, and that's something I don't do. I don't trade in front of earnings. I usually wait for the earnings to be released and then try to play the retrace. I always feel it's safer. You never know if the stock's going to go up or if it's going to go down. But in any case, Apple earnings after the bell, and that will be a big report. The market right now is holding steady. It looks like we did have the Producer Price Index released. It's the largest since April 2011. So it looks like some data there on the Producer Price Index. Really not causing the market to really move all that much. The markets were already rallying up a little bit off the lows. Still negative by 2 points on the futures. So we'll leave it at that. I'm not sure if this is going to be a market mover or not. We'll just have to see how the dollar plays out. If you want to take a look at the US dollar index, that will tell you everything you need to know. See the futures moving up here? That could tell you one thing. The dollar's moving down. Look here, you have 3 bars down on the dollar and trading a little bit lower. Let me flip back to the futures. You'll see the futures, you have 3 bars up and trading a little bit higher. It's pretty much that cut and dry. If the dollar goes down, the markets inflate. The dollar inflates, the markets go down. You don't even need to listen to the news out there. It's kind of newsless or useless. With that said, everybody, we're going to leave it here for today. Again, watch those Asian ADRs, especially in China. They're going to be somewhat on the weaker side. Also, the Indian ADRs, I said yesterday that they needed to pull back. And sure enough, we're seeing that now. So be careful there as well. They could pull back a little bit more. Now, if the U.S. markets hold up, those ADRs will probably be okay. If the U.S. markets start to falter, which is a fair possibility, you have to watch and be very careful there, as those ADRs could, Chinese ADRs and Indian ADRs, could lead the markets lower. Okay, with that said, everybody, have a great trading day. We'll see you all. Those of you in the chat room, we'll see you on the mic at 9:30. And those of you out there trading, best of luck and have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.